Hey guys. Okay, so after being Portal 1 and 2, I found myself looking through a bunch of Portal content on YouTube. And when I was going around, I was just looking at some channels. I found this YouTuber named AussieFowl. Now, this isn't the first time I've actually seen them before. I actually recognized them uh, as I had heard about their channel when I was watching this other YouTuber named Richter Overtime. He's just like this other guy he talks about Half-Life 2 a lot. Basically, I saw the first time I've heard of Ozzy and seen him was when they were both playing this dysfunctional Half-Life 2 multiplayer mod in one of their videos. And when I actually looked at his channel, looked through it, I saw that it was mostly Portal content. And at the time, I never really played Portal. I didn't know about it, but I didn't really care for it because it was just like a puzzle game, and I wasn't really good at those, and I didn't really think they were fun. And also, there was no guns in it. Like, you can kill the GLaDOS with a Spaz 12. So, I just generally never gravitated towards it. Instead, went to Half-Life 2. But obviously, after playing the games and enjoying it myself and realizing why people liked Portal, I decided to go through their content. And I have to say, their videos are pretty good. Well constructed. I think the pieces are good. The art style, other stuff. Yeah, except for one. I had a problem with this one video that they made. um, it was video about Portal, except Ozzy Fowl took it in a different angle. Basically, he looked through the whole story, the interactions between Shell and GLaDOS in a LGBT plus angle. Now, before I say anything, I'm not against the LGBT plus community, and I don't care if you're gay, trans, lesbian, or etc. You be yourself. It's not my place to say. But the reason why I made this video is because I believe that Ozzy felt misconstrued Shell's relationship with GLaDOS. And I believe this video has a chance to convince people to look at the story in a very flawed and incorrect angle. Look at the story when there was never an angle in that angle there to be in the first place. Sorry, I rambled there, but I just want to prevent people from watching the video thinking that this is like a plausible way to look at the story and misinterpret what the game is saying with their kind of interactions. So, with that out of the way, let's start the actual video.
Hey everyone, the name's AussieFlower. Chell and GLaDOS are the two main faces of the Portal series. This much is very obvious to anyone who's even glanced at the games. Portal is, at its core, a story of a test subject rebelling against an AI overlord. Even in scenarios like Wheatley's betrayal, the main plot concept remains basically the same. Today though is a special upload. It's June, meaning that we're right in the center of Pride Month, and in order to commemorate the occasion, I'd like to focus on Portal's aforementioned main characters.
Okay, so as you can see, he in his intro, he's making this for Pride Month, which I think is okay. I don't have a problem with that. But again, this is a theory video, and well, people are gonna still look at this seriously. I think some people at least. So I'm still making this video still. Anyways, also, do you want to mention he continues to talk about this theory and tries to and disproves it successfully, which is he tries to disprove this theory that Shell is the daughter of the CEO of Aperture Science, the facility that you play in Portal 1 and 2, and basically the theory says that Shell is the daughter of the CEO, Cave Johnson, and obviously that's another theory, and I completely agree with his statements there. So we'll just skip that section.
Before anything, I'd like to give a shout out to this Tumblr post by this person, whose Tumblr blog name I refuse to say, so I'll just call them Toenail. I'll credit them in the description for setting me down this path of analysis. I'll also like the fact I'll be bringing up some points they bring up, so shout outs to them.
Okay, so Ozzyfowl, he links to this post by Toenails, which he paraphrases from sometimes, but he this is where he gets most of the evidence from. I have looked through it. I think it's alright. I do like how the the author of the post is self-aware, and I'll also at one point will use some of it in this video, but I won't go too in deep into it because Ozzyfowl kind of just explains what the post is saying in this video, so yeah.
Now let's get started. In order to examine the LGBT perspective on Chell and GLaDOS, we need to analyze what kind of character these two are. Chell, while a protagonist player character, clearly has a backstory. They have a defined personality in that they're someone who will reject or defy authority, as seen through their refusal to answer certain questions on the test subject questionnaire at Lab Rat. Chell is a free spirit, and judging from her bringing Joel to work there, experiment writing, she likely grew to become kind of a smartass. Chell is smart, resourceful, and a quick thinker with a consistent trend of defying those who would be superiors or authority figures. GLaDOS, on the other hand, is almost the opposite of Chell. She's based off Carolyn, the backbone of the facility, and she isn't above insulting or belittling test subjects for the sake of getting better test results. She's cold, calculated, and oppressive, but she struggles when her plans don't go as she expected. The two are written to perfectly play off each other.
Okay, this is kind of my first issue with the video. Now, yes, Chell does have a personality, but not really in the first game. Yes, in the Rat book comics and the other stuff, yeah, sure, but mostly you're kind of, when you're saying her interaction with GLaDOS in the first game, this is mostly the first game. And you see, like Half-Life 2 with Gordon Freeman and Half-Life 1, she's a vehicle character. She doesn't really have a personality. She's just there so that the player can interact the world. So it's more of the player's interaction with GLaDOS rather than Chell.
Acting as opposing forces to one another. GLaDOS is the authority figure of Aperture Science, and Chell is the one who rebels, a perfect conflict between the traits those two have. And I feel it's important too that we analyze how the two characters feel about each other. It's near impossible to gauge what Chell thinks of GLaDOS, since she's the protagonist after all. We do get at least one glimpse of it though, where she attaches the potatoed GLaDOS to her portal gun to be able to more effectively carry her through Aperture. She is at least willing to work with GLaDOS if the time calls for it.
It's kind of the player's choice to pick GLaDOS up, not Chell's really, because we kind of play as her. But, and also, by the way, what I mean by choice is either picking it up and continue the game or just pressing the quit button.
And guess what? Attaching GLaDOS to the portal gun is a perfect example of Chell's resourcefulness and quick thinking. The player didn't do it. All the player did was prompt Chell to pick up GLaDOS. Attaching her to the gun was an independent action by Chell.
Okay, sure. How she does it, that does make sense.
While we can't analyze the full extent of what Chell thinks of GLaDOS, we can analyze a lot of what GLaDOS thinks of Chell. And oh boy, this is where it gets kinda gay.
And oh boy, this is where the theory starts to crack.
See, GLaDOS is a very conflicted character when it comes to her emotions with Chell.
It's made clear from the get-go that GLaDOS was planning to kill Chell after she was done testing with her.
The experiment is nearing its conclusion. The Enrichment Center is required to remind you that you will be baked, and then there will be cake.
She only cares about testing, and after Chell is done testing, she tries to burn Chell, while calmly explaining that she's doing this to get rid of testing equipment.
Congratulations. The test is now over. All Aperture technologies remain safely operational up to 4,000 degrees Kelvin. Rest assured that there is absolutely no chance of a dangerous equipment malfunction prior to your victory incandescence. Thank you for participating in this Aperture Science computer-aided enrichment activity.
What she means by you.
What are you doing? Stop it. We are pleased that you made it through the final challenge where we pretended we were going to murder you.
Not only does GLaDOS try to kill Chell, But she sees Shell as a testing object that serves no purpose after being tested. It needs to be burned.
Throughout Portal 1, she's very calculated and cold until the moment her plans fall apart with Shell escaping, telling her to come back and that she's gonna kill her, even trying and failing. Though I think the biggest showcase of GLaDOS' conflict with her emotions in Portal 1 comes from Still Alive. GLaDOS mentions that Chell broke her heart in Still Alive, and a lot of lines where she almost talks about Chell as if she's an ex. The song features lyrics that carry the vibe of a breakup song, where GLaDOS is basically going, "The time we spent together was nice, but go away."
I listened to Still Alive, that song, and when GLaDOS talks to Shell, I don't really see it as someone talking to their ex. It's more like a passive-aggressive message, as GLaDOS is like, "I'm not mad at you, even though you tried to kill me, tore me to pieces, and threw every piece into a fire, and broke my heart." And about that breaking my heart line, it's kind of played as a joke. Like, everything that GLaDOS has done to Shell, and trying to kill her, when Shell outplays her and confronts GLaDOS, her first words are,
"Well, you found me. Congratulations. Was it worth it? Because despite your violent behavior, the only thing you've managed to break so far is my heart."
Which makes a lot of feel like GLaDOS is trying to guilt trip Shell, and is mad at you because you disobeyed her.
Pointing back to Toenail's Tumblr post, the cake is a great example of how GLaDOS might have an affinity for Chell. She promises the cake to make Chell think that Aperture Science, and by extension GLaDOS, cares about her, but it all turns out it was a lie. However, for one final twist in the ending, the cake is real. Does GLaDOS actually care about Chell?
In Toenail's post, they say that before Portal 2 came out, it was mostly interpreted as a stinger ending, which is designed to make the player question GLaDOS' true intentions. I agree with this interpretation, but the ending is left to interpretation. So, you might be right, or you might be wrong. It's kind of your own opinion, what the ending means.
Still Alive seems to show that GLaDOS has some complex feelings about Chell, and these feelings basically got dialed up to 11 in the game's sequel.
Well then, let's see about that.
This is where it gets dangerously lesbian. You know how I mentioned that GLaDOS talks about Chell as if she's an ex and still alive? That's basically how she treats Chell throughout the first half of Portal 2.
It's more of a, you ruined my life, so I'll ruin yours type energy. With GLaDOS seeing her destroyed testing facility and living through, well...
You know the biggest lesson I learned from what you did? I discovered I have a sort of black box quick save feature. In the event of a catastrophic failure, the last 2 minutes of my life are preserved for analysis. I was able, well, forced really, to relive you killing me again and again. Forever.
Yeah, so obviously, after all that, she wants to kill Shell. But not without going through her favorite activity, testing. So while Shell is testing, this gives GLaDOS ample time to make fun of Shell and plan her eventual death.
It's a fascinating way to read the dialogue throughout chapters 2 to 4 when GLaDOS is testing Chell for the second time. She throws insults about personal details with Chell, such as her adoption, trying to claim that Chell is fat, or even what I think is the best example of this attitude, attempting to gaslight Chell into thinking she has a guilty conscience. GLaDOS is trying to make Chell feel bad about killing her. Viewing all these interactions that GLaDOS has with Chell through this lens puts a really interesting spin on the way GLaDOS appears to perceive her. GLaDOS is really conflicted about how she feels.
Nah, I think she makes it pretty clear that she hates Shell with all those insults and being demeaning to her. And planning to kill her.
She tries to make Chell feel bad about killing her, yet belittles Chell all the same. It really does give the vibes of a metaphorical relationship breakup between the characters, and it's a joy to be analysing them through this angle. I wouldn't be surprised if GLaDOS seems to have the hots for Chell because of Chell being the only humans to ever have bested her.
No, I don't think GLaDOS has the hots for Shell. Her dialogue suggests that she's more annoyed that Shell's still alive than anything else. I mean, her first line is showing her disappointment in seeing Shell still alive.
Alright, new plan. Act natural, act natural. It's you.
Hell, take a listen to this line.
I did see some humans, but with you here, I've got more test subjects than I'll ever need.
She almost sounds sentimental with that, doesn't she? GLaDOS almost seems to be weighing the value of Chell much higher than that of fresh new test subjects.
The line comes across more as a threat, as GLaDOS is basically saying that she only needs Shell to test, and killing her would satisfy GLaDOS more than anyone else.
There has to be something more bubbling around in that supercomputer brain of hers to want to keep Chell around.
Yes, there is. She wants to do one final test before killing off Shell. It's kind of like a mockery, and spend the whole time while testing her to mock her and guilt trip her. That's kind of the reason why she didn't end her instantly, because she could have just threw her in the furnace, but GLaDOS, that wouldn't be as satisfying, and she would miss her favorite activity, which is testing.
I think there's more than just how good Chell is at solving test chambers, especially with lines where GLaDOS talks about taking up a hobby of reanimating the dead, or making Chell live longer via a medical experiment she wants to give to Chell as a gift. A gift?
This line also is a threat, as GLaDOS is mockingly talking about learning how to keep Shell alive so that she could put Shell through what she had to go through when she died, living through her death for forever. So she's trying to make, thinking about keeping Shell alive so that she could make her live through her testing her over and over again.
This is another thing I like to bring up, pointed out by Tonio's Tumblr blog post while I can. See, the companion cube in Portal 2, much like most other test elements, produces a little piece of music. Specifically, the companion cube is playing the song Love as a Construct, but not only that, it's specifically playing the part that references the tune of Cara Mia. Keep that in mind for later. I've made a big effort to reinforce how conflicted GLaDOS is about Chell, how much they oppose each other ideologically, because this is a common trope in romance media, the idea that opposites will attract one another.
Well, in general, opposites do attract in stories. Okay, let me explain this here. So, when a hero hears a villain doing stuff that opposes their beliefs and motives, the hero usually in a story confronts the villain, or vice versa, where the villain confronts the hero. But, either way, opposites will meet each other in a story to continue the plot. Basically, what I'm saying is, just because Shell's and GLaDOS's opposing ideologies attract each other, doesn't really mean it's meant to be romantic. More so, it's just a good motive for the hero to fight the villain.
Even though the relationship so far is incredibly toxic, again, throughout most of this, they're best comparable to exes.
More like enemies.
But that all changes the moment GLaDOS is stuck inside a potato battery. This is the moment that Chell and GLaDOS click. In her potato form, GLaDOS literally does not have the required amount of power to be lying to Chell. Every piece of dialogue we hear from her from chapter 6 and onwards is GLaDOS's pure personality, who she really is, buried under layers of anger, authority, and lies she's built up herself to be. From the very moment we save Potatoes from the Crow, she immediately makes it clear, Chell and herself are just two people now, and if they don't stop really together, they'll both be in trouble. I love the way Potatoes interacts with Chell. It's genuinely some of the best dialogue in the Portal series.
Indeed.
GLaDOS hasn't even realized who she once was in the past, but she's teeming with a sense of camaraderie with Chell. She wants to work with Chell, to be together. Old Aperture is GLaDOS discovering the type of person she really is, who she's meant to be, Carolyn. It takes a while, it takes time for her to figure out who she is, but as she adventures to the facility with Chell carrying her through, her arc of realization is finally capped off with her response to Cave Johnson's final speech.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye, sir. She's accepted the person she used to be, and the person she'll become from the experience she's had with Chell. Almost like she's come out of her shell, out of the closet, like an allegory for someone accepting their sexuality or newfound gender identity. And I think that's beautiful. The moment the two ascend back into modern Aperture, together, GLaDOS takes on an amazing transformation of character she was just a few chapters ago. She's defending Chell, she's cracking jokes to lighten the mood, She's saying how much she'd love to help Chell solve test chambers.
I don't think GLaDOS here is like being romantic with her actions. I just think that she's standing up and helping Chell because she's now her teammate and is helping her.
And most importantly of all, she never says something like me and Chell when talking about overthrowing Wheatley from his position of power. It's we. GLaDOS always says all we had to do was pull a lever. After we take over again, we are going to march right back upstairs and make him put her back in her body.
When GLaDOS uses we to describe their actions, it doesn't really mean that they're like in a relationship as one, like how you describe a romantic one. It's just more her describing their actions as both of them working together to achieve that objective. Like how you would say, "We won the game, guys," to your team.
And I think the best line of them all.
If we're going to explode, let's at least explode with some dignity.
GLaDOS has accepted the possibility that she could die together with Chell, and that's something she's perfectly fine with. And if anything, she would rather go out with Chell together in a blaze of glory.
The line more so comes across as GLaDOS doesn't really want to die without a bang, without exploding with some glory. She doesn't want to die knees down. She wants to die standing.
The idea of the enemies to lovers relationship dynamic is a common trope in queer media, and what we're seeing here, I think it's in full force in his lens we're viewing Portal 3.
It's more enemies to friends.
GLaDOS has gone from insulting Chell to defending her, helping her, that in the end, she really does care for Chell.
I wouldn't say that she, at the beginning really cared for Chell. More so that she kind of learned, discovered herself in old labs and kind of, learned that Chell isn't that bad of a person and that working with her would have been beneficial in the beginning.
She just didn't know how to express it or even if it was right to do so. Then it all caps off with Portal 2's ending. As Potato's powers are lift into Wheatley's lair, she says this.
Look, even if you think we're still enemies, we're enemies with a common interest. Revenge.
GLaDOS doesn't think of Chell as an enemy anymore. She's trying to appeal to Chell nonetheless, and she supports Chell through the boss fight, sending in the chorus to defeat Wheatley. And the moment he and Chell are sucked out into space, GLaDOS finally makes her move, now back in charge of Aperture. She swats Wheatley away, and in this very moment, GLaDOS has the chance to betray Chell, to show what people think are her true colors, become evil again for no good reason, to throw away all the time she spent with Chell learning who she was and becoming close with her. GLaDOS instead takes a logical choice. She grabs Chell by the hand and pulls her back into safety.
Yeah, I believe the reason for this is because, GLaDOS wouldn't have been given the control back of the facility without Chell's help, Chell has done a lot for GLaDOS, even though GLaDOS tried to kill them. So, when Chell's now in danger and she could easily die, GLaDOS, who has hated Chell throughout most of the game, but has now kind of seen them as a friend due to them helping them, helps them back,
And the final shot we see before Chell's consciousness fades is GLaDOS' head. Both her and GLaDOS lay together, side by side, not as enemies, as equals. And then, when we reawaken...
Oh, thank God, you're all right.
GLaDOS, back in full control of Aperture, in full control of the situation, capable of doing whatever she wants at the moment called for it. She spent that time placing Chell in the exit elevator of the facility and worrying if she would reawaken. She goes on to say she had a surge of emotion shoot through her as she saved Chell's life, when she was back in the chassis. GLaDOS cares for Chell deeply and respects her, not just as someone equal to her, but possibly someone superior to her. Oh, and just to cap off everything, do you recognize what piece of music is playing as part? It's Love as a Construct, the part that sounds like Karamiya, like what the companion cube was singing earlier in the game. Come the fuck on! Is that not a perfect sign of how GLaDOS' emotions about Chell have evolved?
In a way, yes, but in a romantic way, no. You see, I kind of see this scene as GLaDOS kind of thanking Chell for giving, GLaDOS' life back. The surge of emotions part, kind of does show that GLaDOS cares for Shell, but not in a romantic way, I wouldn't say. It's more like, kind of like that energy when you see, like, someone you care about going to die, But that doesn't necessarily mean that has to be romantic, About the leitmotif part, I think this it takes a grain of salt. I don't really have much here, but I do believe that this could be a reference to the companion cube. I think it is, which could probably represent how GLaDOS has became your companion for a while.
Since the moment Chell breaks out of the test track in Portal 1, it's beauty, pure perfection to wrap up the characters of Chell and GLaDOS. The seemingly cold and calculated robot is revealing an outpour of humanity and emotions to Chell, the one human test subject that GLaDOS just could not resist testing, and how she learns from being with Chell. I think to try and say that GLaDOS is a massively crushing on Chell despite would be insanity.
Honestly, it wouldn't, as I hopefully proven.
All of this? Hella gay. And so, GLaDOS, fully capable of having let Chell die in space just mere minutes or hours prior, decides to send her up to the surface, where Chell would want to be, because she doesn't know how Chell would feel about her at this point. And considering everything she's been through, the best solution really is the simplest one. Just let Chell go.
More so as a reward, and also GLaDOS just wanting Chell to not bother her anymore.
And she does, but not without a party message. Let's finally talk about Kare mi Adio.
Okay, so actually we won't be reviewing this section because this section is kind of where like he translates the Italian gibberish from the song, like the opera there. It's kind of outdated. It's outdated because in the comments section, an Italian pointed out that his translation of Bombita, which is one of the lyrics, is incorrect. You see, Ozzyfell translated it as attractive young woman, like babe, so that it kind of seemed like GLaDOS was calling Chell babe, like a romantic partner, but that was incorrect. And the meaning of the word was actually little girl, or like a daughter, making the term more of a family thing than a romantic one. And Ozzyfell responded by agreeing and saying that due to it being gibberish, he leaves it up to interpretation for its like meaning. And I agree with that, but I just don't think the lyrics mean really anything. It's just kind of meant to be a reference to Charlotte being Italian.
Still not convinced? Look at how the developers of Portal 2 refer to the character relationship between Chell and GLaDOS in the final hours of Portal 2. They call it a romance. They use terms like cheating. They classify Want You Gone as a breakup song. They wanted to do a romantic duet between Chell and GLaDOS at one point.
He doesn't link these parts of the article, so I can't really read into it fully. So I take these points with a grain of salt because I can't really see where like the context for the evidence.
Jonathan Colton, who wrote both ending songs for the games, describes both Still Alive and Want You Gone as love songs.
Again, I don't really have the article, so I can't really, explain if this is true or not. And you already heard my point on why I think Still Alive isn't really romantic, so I'm already questioning this article that he uses for evidence. I really wish he linked it so that I could, read it fully, so I could, analyze it. But he doesn't, so...
You are hearing this from the people who made the goddamn game. That the relationship between Chell and GLaDOS is intended to be romantic in nature.
Allegedly, because, it doesn't really... I can't really prove that this is an accurate source.
And you know what? Let's go over Want You Gone as well. We had the time for it. GLaDOS talks about Chell and Want You Gone as if she very much misses Chell.
No, the song called Want You Gone isn't really about GLaDOS missing Chell. It's a song about wanting Chell to be free so that she can leave her alone and stop being an annoyance. Like the title suggests. In the song, she mocks Chell for having a short, sad life, well, GLaDOS is gonna live forever, and also how she doesn't really need Shell anymore, that she has controlled the facility, and that Shell will become someone else's problem. So yeah, I don't think it's really about her missing her.
Fully expecting and even counting her to do what she's always done, causing problems for someone else. It's important to note that GLaDOS is very clearly trying to cope with the loss of Chell in the Portal 2 cooperative campaign, as after Chell leaves the facility, she immediately begins to search for new test subjects and finds them in the human vault. GLaDOS is determined to get herself a new Chell, a new test subject that'll make her feel the same way, and she's so desperate to find herself someone as tenacious, as determined, as creative, and as much of a quick thinker that Chell was, that she burns through every single test subject in that vault in a week.
Well, GLaDOS loves testing, as we all know, and for how annoying Shell was, she was smart, if the player was, of course, agile, and she kept outsmarting GLaDOS. So GLaDOS would want someone to be a challenge, a test, like Shell, as GLaDOS truly sees Shell as the perfect test subject. I don't really think that's like romantic per se, but she, after seeing how Shell kind of outsmarted her through everything, it really made her, think kind of. So she would want someone that would make her think.
GLaDOS is missing the time she had with Chell, where she felt like she could understand herself, learn more about what kind of person she was and it could eventually become. But by the end of Cooperative Core 6, I think she's gotten over Chell, especially after finding those little new birds. Chell and GLaDOS had that time together. While it was toxic for the large majority of it, we saw how those two opposites would come to attract one another in a time of desperation, and how they not only learned to coexist, but help each other as time went on. And by the end of the journey, they made up. They've learned from each other what was valuable, and for the benefit of the both of them, they split up. And I think that wraps up our analysis of Portal through the LGBT lens with our focus on Chell and GLaDOS.
And that also is the end of my critical analysis of this video. And by the way, before we end this, again, please don't attack anyone mentioned in this video. And Ozzyfell, if you're watching this, please know that this isn't really an attack on you, but just a criticism of your theory. And, well, obviously after that, I hope you enjoyed the video, nonetheless. Goodbye.